10 years ago, I stood in this same driveway, tears streaming down my face as my wife locked lips with her lover in front of everyone I loved. That night, I packed everything and disappeared without a trace. Today, I return to this small town, not as Tommy Jenkins, the software developer, but as Thomas J. Carter, the billionaire CEO they whisper about. Before I tell you how I rebuilt my life from nothing to becoming the wealthiest person this town has ever seen, let me know where you are watching from. Drop a comment below and subscribe to join this journey of redemption. Life with Amanda was everything I had dreamed of growing up. We had the perfect home in Oakwood, the neighborhood everyone in our small town aspired to live in. The two-story colonial, with its white picket fence and manicured lawn, represented all our hard work purchased with savings we had diligently accumulated over the first 3 years of our marriage. My career at Midtech Solutions had been steady and secure. As a senior developer, I earned enough to provide us with comfort but not luxury. I enjoyed the predictability of my 9-to-5 job, the friendly coworkers, and the satisfaction of solving complex coding problems. My boss appreciated my reliability, even if he sometimes hinted that I could aim higher with my talents. Amanda worked as the marketing director at Riverdale Community Bank. She had climbed that corporate ladder impressively fast, charming executives and clients alike with her polished presentations and strategic thinking. Her ambition had always attracted me to her since our college days, when she outlined her 10-year career plan while most of us were just trying to pass our finals. Our families were tightly woven into the fabric of our lives. My parents, retired teachers who lived just 20 minutes away, would come over for Sunday dinners without fail. My sister Lauren and her husband frequently joined us for game nights, bringing their twin boys who adored their Aunt Amanda. Her parents lived farther away in Arizona, but made monthly video calls and visited for extended stays twice a year. Our social circle was extensive. My college buddies Ryan and Lucas remained close friends along with their wives. We hosted barbecues in summer football, viewing parties in fall, and an annual Christmas gathering that had become legendary in our friend group. Everyone commented on what a perfect couple we were, how complementary our personalities seemed, how our home radiated warmth and happiness. With our 5th anniversary approaching, I threw myself into planning the perfect celebration. I reserved the gazebo at Lakeside Park where we had our first date arranged for a string quartet to play our wedding song and secretly ordered a diamond pendant that matched her wedding set. I wanted to show Amanda that 5 years had only deepened my love and commitment. The first signs that something was wrong appeared so gradually that I almost missed them. Amanda started attending more evening work functions, returning home with the faint scent of unfamiliar cologne. Her phone suddenly acquired a new password. The intimacy between us subtly shifted with her pulling away from casual touches and good morning kisses. I noticed new clothes appearing in her closet, designer labels we typically considered out of our price range. A particularly elegant red dress caught my attention, something far more sophisticated than her usual professional attire. When I commented on it, she casually mentioned a new company dress code. But something in her tone rang false. Still, I rationalized these changes. Perhaps she was just working toward another promotion. Maybe she was planning her own anniversary surprise and needed privacy. I trusted Amanda completely. We had built our relationship on honesty and communication values we both proclaimed essential. Then came the credit card statement with charges from Vincenzo, an upscale Italian restaurant downtown that we had always considered too expensive for regular dining. There were 3 separate charges in 1 month, none of which corresponded to dates we had dined out together. When questioned, Amanda vaguely mentioned client meetings, but her eyes never quite met mine. One afternoon while doing laundry, I found movie ticket stubs in her jacket pocket for a showing I never attended. 2 tickets side by side for a romantic comedy we had talked about seeing together. I stood in our bedroom staring at those small paper slips, feeling the first true tremor of fear run through me. Despite these warning signs, I channeled my energy into our anniversary party. We decided to host it at our home, inviting 30 of our closest friends and family members. I spent weeks planning the menu, arranging for catering, selecting the perfect wines. I created a slideshow of photos documenting our relationship from our first awkward college encounter to our most recent vacation. The weekend before the big event, I surprised Amanda with a getaway to a bed and breakfast in wine country. I hoped the romantic setting might reignite whatever spark had dimmed between us. She seemed distracted throughout the trip, constantly checking her phone and making excuses to step away for calls. Still, I persisted in my optimism, presenting her with earrings I had spotted her admiring months earlier. Her smile seemed genuine as she put them on, and for a moment I felt reassured. Back home, finalizing party details, the unease returned. Amanda was increasingly absent, physically present but mentally elsewhere. I caught her smiling at text messages and then quickly hiding her phone when I entered the room. Each night she worked later, each explanation sounding less convincing than the last. The weight of suspicion finally became too much to bear. I called Lucas, my best friend since high school, and confided my fears over beers in his garage workshop. He listened silently, his expression growing increasingly uncomfortable. When I finished, he set down his bottle and looked at me with pity in his eyes. "Tommy, I have been hearing things," he admitted reluctantly. "Amanda has been seen around town with David Parker. You know, that executive from the bank main branch who transferred here last year." My stomach dropped. David Parker. Tall, confident, with an Ivy League education and custom suits. I had met him at a bank function and remembered how he had monopolized Amanda in conversation, his hand lingering too long on her arm when they laughed. I had dismissed my jealousy then as petty insecurity. "Just rumors," Lucas added hastily. "Could be nothing. Work-related." But we both knew better. The next day I checked Amanda's work calendar that we shared on our home computer. 3 lunch meetings with DP in the past 2 weeks. A weekend conference I had never heard mentioned. My hands trembled as I closed the laptop. That evening I confronted her directly. "Are you having an affair with David Parker?" Her reaction told me everything. Not shock or outrage, but a calculated pause before she responded. "David is an important professional connection. Our relationship is strictly about work." The practiced ease of her answer chilled me. It sounded rehearsed, prepared for this exact moment. I threw myself into anniversary preparations with desperate intensity, as if perfect execution of this event could somehow save our marriage. I selected photographs that captured our happiest moments. I wrote and rewrote my anniversary toast. I ordered her favorite flowers, lilies and roses arranged in cascading bouquets throughout our home. The morning of the party arrived with perfect weather, sunshine, and mild temperatures ideal for using both our indoor and outdoor spaces. Catering staff transformed our backyard into an elegant venue with string lights, candles, and tables adorned with spring blooms. Amanda spent hours getting ready upstairs while I directed traffic, greeting early arrivals, managing last-minute details. When she descended the staircase in that new red dress, every eye turned to her. She looked stunning, her hair arranged in an elegant updo, wearing the earrings I had given her. For a moment, hope flickered in my chest. Perhaps I had imagined the problems. Perhaps tonight would mark a new beginning. The party progressed beautifully. Our parents beamed with pride, friends mingled comfortably, the food and wine flowed. At 9:30, I clinked my glass for attention and delivered my carefully prepared speech about our journey together, our dreams for the future, my endless gratitude for having Amanda as my wife. I raised my glass to her and everyone applauded. She smiled and kissed my cheek, whispering, "Lovely speech." After the toast, I excused myself to retrieve the pendant from our bedroom safe. I planned to present it to her privately, away from the crowd. When I returned downstairs, Amanda was nowhere to be seen. I circulated through the house, checking rooms, asking if anyone had seen her. Ryan mentioned seeing her walking toward the garden. I headed outside, pendant box in hand, heart full of hope that this night might heal whatever had come between us. The path to our garden gazebo was lit with small solar lamps. As I approached, I heard voices, laughter. Her laughter specifically in that particular tone I recognized from our most intimate moments, then a male voice low and confident. I slowed my steps, the world around me seeming to tilt. Through the gazebo trellis wrapped in fragrant jasmine vines I saw them. Amanda in her red dress pressed against David Parker in his impeccable suit. Their lips locked and passionate. Embrace his hands possessively gripping her waist. The pendant box slipped from my fingers, landing with a soft thud on the grass. Someone behind me gasped. I turned to find Lauren standing there, hand covering her mouth, eyes wide with shock. Others had followed us outside, curious about the commotion. Within moments, a small crowd gathered, murmurs of disbelief rippling through the guests. Amanda noticed the audience and pushed away from David, but not with embarrassment. Instead, she straightened her dress with deliberate slowness, regarding me with something approaching pity. "I guess this saves me having to tell you later," she said, her voice carrying in the sudden silence. "David and I have been seeing each other for 6 months. I was going to wait until after the party to break the news. 6 months. Half a year of lies while I planned anniversary surprises." David stepped forward, his arms sliding around her waist. "Amanda deserves someone with real ambition, Tommy. Someone who can match her drive. You have been too comfortable for too long," Amanda added, twisting the knife. "Content with your safe job and your safe house in your safe little town. I want more." She gestured to David. "He just got promoted to regional director. We will be moving to Boston next month." The silence that followed was excruciating. 30 pairs of eyes watching my humiliation, my complete dismantling as a husband and a man. "I am leaving with David tonight," she continued, seemingly enjoying the audience. "I have already packed my essentials. I will arrange for the rest later." I stood frozen, unable to form words as they walked past me hand in hand. David nodded cordially to stunned guests, as if this were a normal business transaction. My parents rushed to my side, but I could not bear their comforting touches. Lucas stepped toward David menacingly, but I shook my head. Nothing could repair this moment. The party disintegrated into awkward departures, pitying glances, hushed conversations. Some friends tried to express support. Others avoided eye contact entirely. I moved through it all like a ghost, mechanically thanking people for coming, apologizing for the drama, dying inside with each sympathetic pat on the shoulder. By midnight, our house was empty except for me, and the evidence of celebration turned nightmare. Half-filled glasses of champagne, partially eaten anniversary cake, congratulatory cards with messages that now read like cruel jokes. The slideshow of our relationship still cycling silently on the living room wall, images of a happiness that had apparently been illusion. I sat alone on our couch until dawn, surrounded by the debris of my former life. Something broke inside me as morning light filtered through the windows. 5 years of marriage, 8 years together, in total rendered meaningless. The future I had planned, children we had discussed, retirement dreams we had shared, all evaporated in a single kiss witnessed by everyone I cared about. I moved through the house with strange calm, gathering essentials. Clothes for a week. Important documents. Laptop and hard drives. Family photos, but none that included Amanda. I left behind furniture, appliances, most possessions accumulated over years. None of it mattered anymore. In our bedroom, I emptied my dresser, methodically, pausing only when I reached my wedding band. I removed it slowly, feeling the indentation it had left on my skin, and placed it deliberately on the kitchen counter next to the anniversary pendant box I had retrieved from the garden. No note, no explanation needed. By 6:30 in the morning, my car was packed. I looked at our house one last time, then drove away without a destination in mind. I just drove north, eventually finding myself on the interstate toward Chicago. I had visited the city exactly once on a high school field trip. No connections there, no memories tied to Amanda, a blank slate. My first weeks in Chicago passed in a blur. I rented a tiny studio apartment in a rundown building, paying cash from my emergency savings. I found work at a coffee shop, making minimum wage plus tips. I declined calls from worried friends and family, sending only brief texts confirming my safety but requesting space. I could not bear their pity or well-meaning advice. The routine of making lattes and cleaning tables numbed my pain temporarily. I worked double shifts when possible, preferring exhaustion to the thoughts that plagued me during quiet moments. My apartment remained sparse, just a mattress on the floor, a folding table, a single chair. I lived like someone who might flee again at any moment. One morning, 6 weeks into my self-imposed exile, a customer overheard me, explaining a coding solution to a coworker who was taking programming classes. The man Jack Sullivan lingered after receiving his coffee, then returned at the end of my shift to introduce himself properly. "I run a tech startup downtown," he explained, handing me his card. "We need someone with your knowledge. You are wasted making coffee. No offense to this fine establishment." I almost declined, reflexively comfortable in my anonymity, but something in his straightforward manner appealed to me. The following Monday, I found myself in a chaotic office space filled with energetic 20-somethings and mismatched furniture. Jack Sullivan, disheveled but sharp-eyed, interviewed me himself, caring nothing for my mysterious background and everything for my coding abilities. "Company is barely hanging on," he admitted bluntly. "Our project management system is a disaster. Fix it, and there is a permanent position for you." I worked 80-hour weeks rebuilding their system from the ground up. The focus required left no room for dwelling on Amanda or my former life. Within a month, their operations ran smoothly enough to satisfy their main investor and secure additional funding. Jack promoted me to technical director with a salary triple my previous one at Midtech. "You saved us," he said simply. "Now help us grow." Jack became more than a boss. As months passed, he became my mentor, eventually my friend. He shared stories of his own failures. 3 bankruptcies before this venture. A broken engagement, family estrangement. His resilience inspired me. Slowly, I began reconstructing my identity, no longer defining myself as Amanda's abandoned husband, but as a skilled developer with untapped potential. A year into my Chicago life, I approached Jack with an idea that had been forming in my mind. A project management platform more secure, intuitive, and comprehensive than anything on the market. He listened intently, asked sharp questions, then nodded. "We cannot fund this fully, but I will give you resources to build a prototype. Show me something viable in 3 months." I threw myself into development, working nights and weekends. The prototype impressed Jack enough to secure seed funding from his investor network. We launched and failed spectacularly. Security flaws, interface issues, and marketing missteps doomed the product within months. The failure taught me invaluable lessons. I analyzed every mistake, rebuilt the concept from scratch, and approached Jack again. This time, he brought in outside consultants to validate the revised idea. We launched SecureTask 18 months after the initial failure with modest expectations. Almost immediately, a major accounting firm adopted our platform. Their endorsement led to contracts with legal firms, then healthcare providers. Within 2 years, we needed larger offices and a staff of 50. I had become the Chief Technology Officer, Jack, the public face of our rapidly growing company. During expansion interviews, I met Sarah Wilson, a brilliant marketing director with experience at tech giants. Her strategic vision complemented my technical focus perfectly. She joined our executive team, bringing both expertise and a warmth to our intensely driven culture. Our professional relationship evolved gradually into friendship. We worked late, strategizing product developments, challenged each other, intellectually celebrated company milestones together. I found myself laughing again, something that had become foreign after Amanda. Sarah asked about my past exactly once. When I provided vague answers, she simply nodded. "When you are ready to share, I will listen. Until then, who you are now is enough." Her patience touched me deeply. As months became years, the walls I had built slowly lowered. Over dinner one evening, 3 years after meeting her, I finally shared the full story of Amanda's betrayal and my disappearance. Sarah listened without judgment, reaching across the table to hold my hand when I finished. "Thank you for trusting me with this," she said simply. I did not rush into romance, and Sarah never pushed. We continued working together, though something had shifted subtly between us. A shared glance held longer casual touches, lingered conversations, extended beyond work topics into dreams and philosophies. Meanwhile, Secure Task exploded in popularity. A major venture capital firm offered substantial investment for international expansion. We opened offices in London, Singapore, Sydney. I traveled extensively building teams across continents. Our user base grew exponentially, particularly in finance and government sectors where security concerns dominated. 7 years after fleeing my hometown, I stood beside Jack as we rang the opening bell for our initial public offering. Secure Task shares soared, making paper millionaires of early employees and pushing my net worth past the billion-dollar mark. Business magazines featured our success story, though I declined all interview requests, allowing Jack to serve as company spokesman. Through it all, Sarah remained my anchor. Her genuine joy at our success touched me deeply. When I finally gathered courage to ask her to dinner explicitly as a date, rather than colleagues, her smile illuminated something long dormant within me. "I have been waiting 3 years for you to ask," she admitted. Our relationship progressed with the same patience that characterized our friendship. No rush, no pressure, just growing certainty that we had found something rare and valuable. When I proposed a year later, her yes felt like the final healing of wounds I had carried for so long. As we discussed wedding plans, a thought increasingly occupied my mind. It had been a decade since I fled my hometown. 10 years since anyone there had seen Tommy Jenkins. My parents had eventually relocated to be near Lauren in Colorado. Most connections to my former life had gently dissolved through my own negligence. I found myself wondering about the town, about Lucas and other friends, even fleetingly about Amanda. The wondering held no pain now, just curiosity. I shared these thoughts with Sarah one evening. "Perhaps it is time to visit," she suggested. "Close that chapter properly before we begin ours." Her wisdom, as always, resonated with truth. The decision crystallized: I would return, not seeking revenge or validation, but closure. And perhaps I thought I might bring something positive back to the community I had once called home. The familiar highway exit appeared before I realized how quickly the journey had passed. Driving my understated but expensive car into town, I noted both changes and constants. New shopping centers on the outskirts, the same town square at its heart. Chain stores had replaced some local businesses, while others persisted against economic pressures. I checked into the renovated hotel downtown using my legal name, Thomas Carter, adopted years ago during my reinvention. No one recognized the successful businessman as the heartbroken husband who had vanished a decade prior. My first deliberate connection was with Lucas, whose family hardware store still anchored Main Street. He looked up as the bell above the door announced my entrance, his expression shifting from shopkeeper, welcome to shocked recognition in seconds. "Tommy," he whispered, coming around the counter. "My God, is it really you?" His bear hug nearly crushed me. We closed the store early, retreating to his office where bourbon loosened years of silence. I shared my journey in broad strokes while he updated me on local developments. His marriage to his high school sweetheart had produced 3 children. The hardware store had expanded to include a contracting business. And Amanda, I finally asked, surprised at how steady my voice remained. Lucas shook his head. The fairy tale with David Parker lasted exactly 18 months. He got another promotion and promptly left her for his 22-year-old assistant. Classic story. I felt nothing at this news. No satisfaction, no lingering resentment, just acknowledgement of information. "She never recovered professionally," Lucas continued. "After the divorce, she lost her director position in some restructuring. Works as a receptionist now at the same bank. Bit of a cautionary tale around town." I nodded, then steered conversation elsewhere. We reminisced about better memories, made plans to introduce Sarah to his family when she joined me the following week. The past receded again, taking its proper place as history rather than defining narrative. The following day, exploring downtown, I passed the bank where Amanda worked. Through plate glass windows, I glimpsed her at the front desk, older, but recognizable, helping an elderly customer. I continued walking without breaking stride. That evening, dining alone at the upscale restaurant that had replaced my former favorite diner, I sensed someone approaching my table. Looking up, I met Amanda's wide-eyed stare. "Tommy Jenkins," she said softly. "Everyone said you disappeared completely." I gestured to the empty chair opposite me. "Thomas Carter now, actually. Would you like to sit?" Her nervous acceptance revealed how thoroughly our power dynamic had reversed. She fidgeted with her napkin as I signaled for another glass of wine. "I heard you became successful," she began. "Someone mentioned a tech company. Secure Task, I supplied. We went public 3 years ago." Her eyes widened at the recognition of the now household name. "That is yours. I use that software at work." "Everyone does." The conversation progressed awkwardly through surface topics. She mentioned her divorce, her career setbacks, her current studio apartment. I offered no details about my life beyond basic professional facts. When she attempted to inject nostalgic references to our marriage, I gently redirected. "Why did you come back?" she finally asked, vulnerability evident in her voice. "After all this time, closure," I answered honestly. "And to give something back." I shared my plans to purchase the abandoned textile factory on the edge of town, converting it to a technology innovation center. Local jobs, training programs, revitalization opportunities. "You could have built that anywhere," she noted. "This town shaped me," I replied simply. "Both the good and bad experiences." Her hand reached tentatively toward mine. "We had good times too, Tommy. Maybe we could catch up more privately, for old time's sake." I withdrew my hand gently but firmly. "I am engaged now to someone remarkable. Sarah will be joining me next week to finalize building plans." Disappointment flashed across her face, quickly masked. "Of course. Congratulations." We parted cordially. No dramatic confrontation or satisfying revenge scene. The reality proved more powerful in its simplicity. Two people whose paths had drastically diverged, one thriving, one struggling with consequences of her choices. The remainder of my time in town unfolded productively. I signed papers for the factory purchase, met with local officials about renovation permits, reconnected with a few old friends who expressed genuine happiness at my return and success. When Sarah arrived, her warmth and intelligence charmed everyone she met. Standing with her at the future Innovation Center site, describing our vision to community leaders, I felt the final pieces of my healing click into place. This project would transform a painful past into productive future, not just for me, but for the town that had witnessed my greatest humiliation. On our final night before returning to Chicago, I proposed again to Sarah under the stars at Lakeside Park, this time offering her grandmother's ring alongside my updated vows. We decided on a small wedding the following spring to coincide with the center's groundbreaking ceremony. We married with just 30 guests, true friends rather than social obligations. Lucas served as best man. My sister Lauren and her family flew in from Colorado. Jack Sullivan gave a toast that drew both laughter and tears. No elaborate decorations or performances, just authentic celebration of genuine connection. As weeks turned to months and the Innovation Center rose from the bones of the abandoned factory, I reflected on my decade-long journey. The pain that once defined me had transformed into wisdom. The betrayal that shattered my world had ultimately led to rebuilding a stronger, truer version of myself. I realized with profound clarity that success had never been about proving Amanda wrong or showing the town my worth. True fulfillment came from redirecting pain toward purpose, using my experience to create opportunities for others. The scholarship fund we established for local students represented this philosophy, perfectly transforming personal healing into community impact. The most powerful realization was that I felt genuine gratitude for that devastating anniversary night. Without that moment of absolute loss, I might never have discovered my capacity for resilience, innovation, and authentic love. Sarah brought joy that made previous relationships pale in comparison precisely because we built our connection on mutual respect rather than dependency or obligation. This town once witnessed my lowest moment. Now it sees the man I became because of not despite that suffering. Pain redirected toward purpose creates the most meaningful transformations. Have you ever experienced a betrayal or setback that ultimately led to something better in your life? Share your story in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more journeys of resilience. And remember to hit that notification bell. Thanks for joining me on this path from heartbreak to healing, and may your own challenges become catalysts for your greatest growth.